What are some of the common issues that you find people are coming in with, and how do you work with those issues in in-depth hypnosis?
Well, it's interesting because people often come into depth hypnosis for help with relationships, actually. Or they may not know that they have a problem with a relationship, but it always turns out that a problem in relationship is at least tangential, if not fundamental, to the issue that they're dealing with. But people will come for help with understanding. As I say, I specialize in spiritual emergency, but people will often come in for help with understanding how to deal with relationships, especially in the workplace, because they're feeling, upset that they're having a hard time doing their job in the way that they would like to be able to do their job, and they're trying to understand what the proper emotional response is to, say, a boss that may be thwarting them, or a colleague that may be making it hard for them to do their job. And so they want to be effective in the workplace, so they don't want to be burdened with a lot of emotion that they're acting out of, but yet the emotion is there and they don't know how to channel it and get to a place where they can be professional in the workplace. So that's a very common thing that people come for help with. Also, people will often come for help when they've been to a lot of other places looking for assistance. And it's not unusual that people come to depth hypnosis for things like an autoimmune problem or a chronic fatigue issue, some kind of a physical problem that, according to the medical doctors, does not have any kind of physical issue behind it. So they want to understand what is the issue behind it. If it's not on a physical level, is it on another level? And again, when they think about hypnosis, they think about another level, right? So they'll come for help with that. And then, of course, people come into depth hypnosis for help with phobias and anxiety. That's a very common reason why people would come in for help, because they're having trouble managing fear. And they may not actually even have the word for it. A lot of people who are suffering from anxiety don't even know that fear is related to anxiety. And so they come for help trying to understand, what is this thing that I'm experiencing that people are calling anxiety? They're calling it anxiety, but that doesn't help me. I'm still anxious, right? What do we do about it? And so people come to depth hypnosis for help with and interventions that address issues that are not well addressed in other models.
And how does depth hypnosis approach something like the inner critic?
Well, the inner critic is something that, again, a lot of people don't even know they have. And a lot of people just feel, a little bit depressed or a little bit grumpy, when they've done something wrong, or if they feel like they have failed, or if they feel like they're not good enough. They just feel kind of grumpy, but they don't realize that if they are feeling they're not good enough, or if they're feeling that they're a failure, that there's a part of themselves that is telling them that. Or there's a part of themselves that might be agreeing with someone external to them who is telling them that there's something wrong with them, and that's a problem. So the discovery of this inner critic is actually something that is difficult for people to even know about. And once they understand that if they're feeling blamed for something, there's probably a part of themselves that's blaming them, right? And I will often say in depth hypnosis classes, wherever there is shame, there is blame. And so most people will often just suffer in a state of shame or guilt, thinking that there's something outside of themselves that's causing it. But actually, you cannot feel ashamed if there's not a part of yourself that's not agreeing with someone external to you who is trying to make you feel ashamed or guilty, or if there's just a part of yourself that's interested in making you feel ashamed and guilty for its own reasons. So job, of course, is to discover what are those reasons, right? And then, of course, in the inner coming to peace processes, we have a method of dialoguing, setting up a dialogue between those two parts so that they can come to peace, or so that the critical voice can actually be asked to leave.